Stephen. Before we move on to the comments from our elected official, I do want to point out that we have our Deputy Supervisor from the town of Glenville with us, Gina Wierzbowski. Gina, thank you for being here again this year. I want to thank, got it? Good now? I want to thank again all of you for being here. It's an honor for us to be able to gather again on the 20th anniversary of 9/11. I want to thank Pat and Karen Papalizio as well as John Wells for hosting this community event. Pat and Karen, we know the pandemic has been hard on many of our small businesses, and you faced challenges this past year. But this event is so important to our community, so that on behalf of the entire town, we say thank you for your leadership. Thank you, Pat and Karen. Give them a round of applause. I want to thank John Wells as well for his tireless dedication to this event and for his vigilance in honoring our veterans. John, thank you. Today we gather at a significant time in our history. It's the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. And we join as a community, as New Yorkers, and as Americans to mourn those that we lost on that, our darkest day. A day when we lost nearly 3,000 Americans, brutally murdered in a heinous attack on our nation. Over the years, obviously, much time has passed and much has changed since those cowardly acts occurred. We've recovered. If you look around, the Freedom Tower is built. The memorials have been erected. Our collective attention has seemed to move on, directed elsewhere. There's a new microphone coming up. At times it does seem that we've moved on and we may have forgotten. At times it feels that the unity that we all had as Americans in the days immediately following those attacks have melted away. Today we seem more focused on our differences than our common bonds. But we can't let that happen. We must keep that memory alive. Many today were too young or perhaps not even born at the time of the attacks, and they don't fully grasp the magnitude of what happened. It's each of our mission to make sure the future generations know and never forget. We do this by sharing our memories of that day and our memories of the days that followed. If you're like me, I remember the horror of watching my nation endure such a despicable act, the helplessness and vulnerability. I remember the grief I felt as we watched fellow Americans jumping to their death, and the heartache I felt after I watched those towers fall. I remember the inspiration and the renewal I experienced watching our first responders and all those who flocked to the scene to help, first in an effort of rescue and then recovery. I remember the determination that took hold of all of us during the rebuilding phase. And I remember the pride I felt for our men and women of the United States military who mobilized in purpose and for justice. I remember all of those things vividly. But more than anything else, I remember our unity, our love for each other, our commonality, our compassion for each other, our love for this country. I remember that. I've never forgotten it. See, the legacy of 9/11 is our strength and our endurance. but it's also our love and our compassion for each other. This is what we can leave to our future generations. To return again to be that nation bound together in mutual respect for each other, in concern for each other, and in service to each other. We must continue to live our values, those American values. We can honor the victims, the first responders, the servicemen and women by recommitting ourselves to the truth that we are all called to serve this nation. That we are called to serve our communities and to serve each other. Never let us forget that we are one people and one nation, and that we are united in purpose. A purpose to defend freedom and liberty. A purpose to protect human dignity wherever it's threatened. And to be that beacon of goodness as an example for the world to follow. It is in this way we can honor those of 9/11. And it is this way that those victims will never, ever be forgotten. God bless you all, and thank you. With us today, we have a few speakers who share their thoughts on this event, and I would like to start by welcoming Congressman Paul Tonko to the podium.